Good, y'all. Yeah, I see in the chat it says, nah, not Druski. But when it comes to this new paperwork that we about to look at, you got Druski added to Diddy's prior suit that was filed. You got the NFL superstar Odell Beckham. And here's one to me that was ironic as hell. Jaguar Wright. Her name was added as a defendant as well. This is a person who's been running around screaming about Jay-Z is the devil, Diddy is the devil. She is one of the most controversial conspiracy theorists that's out there, and she's added as a defendant alongside Diddy. How ironic is that? That's crazy. But already there's been a response from Druski and Odell Beckham publicly. Let's take a look at that real quick because that is relevant. So this is from the Shade Room. Shout out to the Shade Room. Odell Beckham Jr. has addressed being named as a defendant in a lawsuit against Diddy. The case accuses him and others, including Druski, of SA of a woman at a Diddy party in 2018. Druski denied the allegations yesterday, and Beckham echoed a similar sentiment in the comments under Druski's statement, writing, and covered by God. So let's look at Odell Beckham's tweet here. Boy, I tell you what, this world makes absolutely no sense. I am covered by God. I will prevail. I know who I am. I know who you are. Keep your head. That will be cleared. And then blurt it out. And then stupid. And then same thing goes for Druski. Looks like he replied underneath saying, this allegation is a fabricated lie. I wasn't a public figure in 2018. I was broke, living with my mom without any connections to the entertainment industry at the time of this allegation. So the inclusion of my name is truly outlandish. My heart breaks for actual victims of abuse, but I'm fully confident that the evidence will expose this falsehood and the individuals who are maliciously trying to game the legal system to peddle false narratives. Now, I will say off rip before we get into the paperwork, which is nasty. I will say off rip, we don't know these people. We don't know these celebrities. Um, it is tough, especially when y'all read what we about to read, to see a Drewski and be like, "You did that." It doesn't align, right? Outside perception. Same thing happened with Jay-Z. What? Seems a little crazy. Diddy, because he's wild. And we saw the video, everybody's just like, oh, he's guilty, and we don't put much past Diddy. The Druski thing seems crazy. Jaguar, right? I don't know nothing about her. Odell, this is wild for these people's names. I mean, people wanted to hear more celebrity names added to the federal case as far as Diddy. Right now, the only victim that's named in there, I believe, or alluded to is Cassie. Everybody's like, what's the celebrities? Who's going to be outed on some of these tapes that have been confiscated? What celebrity names were at these freak offs other than Cassie? Y'all been waiting for names. This isn't tied to Diddy's federal criminal case. This is a civil suit that was placed against Diddy. There was names that was alluded to, or people that was alluded to in these accusations, and now recent in this updated amended lawsuit. Now those previous persons that were like alluded to, they are now being named, i.e., a Jaguar Wright or a Druski or Odell Beckham. Let's let's pull up the paperwork, and let's start to scan through some of this where we see why Druski and Odell Beckham are even being called out and what type of allegations are being put on them. All right. So you see this filed as far as the amended complaint, adding those names was yesterday. No, I'm sorry, on the 7th, filed 3/7/25. I guess it just now started making its rounds. This is an 87-page file. Okay. Y'all see here the United States District Court. Um, you have one person as a plaintiff that's named. There's Ashley Parham person. There's also a defendant or a plaintiff, I should say, Jane Doe and a John Doe. So both a man and a woman that's not even named yet, but three people as plaintiffs in this case. And you see here on the right, amended complaint. Now, when you go down on the left and you look at the actual defendants, who these accusations are against, Sean Combs, Diddy, we know. Okay, cool. Christina, I don't know who this is. Christina K. Shane Pierce, don't know who that is. Ruben Valdez, don't know. John, whoever, don't know. Odell Beckham Jr., spooky. Then you have Drew here, aka Druski. And then you have here Jacqueline Wright, aka Jaguar. Right. Wow. Here's another one that jumps out to people, or two. Janice Combs. Who's Janice Combs? Janice Combs is related to Diddy. Who's that again? Who is I'm tripping. Who is Janice Combs? Who is that? Oh my God. Pardon me. Janice is his mother? I had a blacked out brain for a second. His mo I'm just seeing this now. I'm just realizing this now for the first time live with y'all. Oh my God. His mom, Diddy's mom, his mother. What the fuck? You just don't know what to expect in this Hollywood celebrity world of lawsuits and civil suits and Diddy being in jail right now. You just don't know the shit you're gonna wake up to. I was not ready for this, y'all. I promise y'all. I knew Druski, Odell, and Jaguar. That's how I made the thumbnail. His mother? All right. This one might stand out to people too. Keith Lux, aka Big Homie CC. He's been running around doing a lot of Diddy topic based interviews lately. And then there's even a John and a Jane Doe 1 through 10. So there's more people in here that have yet to be named. Like these could be more celebrity names and whatnot for all we know. Just like now, this was amended and updated to now include. All right, yo, his mother is in it, B. His mother is in it. I know a lot of people. It's just like, let's say Diddy goes to trial and he gets found innocent. A lot of people's gonna be like, I'll never hang around him again because look, it just could open up a world of trouble for you, man. They will never go to a Diddy party again. Well, then again, I'm lying. People still will. All right. We definitely not reading this 87 pages. Let's read this opening together. Plaintiff Ashley, John Doe, Jane Doe, files were complained, blah, blah, blah. All right, this is just all the names. Introduction. This case involves RICO enterprise for the purposes of SA battery, R sexual abuse, false imprisonment, and kidnapping for the personal and financial benefit to the enterprise participants. Well, as soon as I read RICO enterprise, I don't know how that works to read something as RICO enterprise, yet this is a civil suit. I don't know how that works. Okay. Defendant Diddy has been sued by countless individuals for crimes similar to the ones enumerated in this complaint. Defendant Diddy is currently a federal inmate awaiting criminal trial for crimes similar to the ones enumerated in this complaint. We know that. Defendant KK is an employee of, okay. Defendant Diddy's predatory behavior was constant and was well known by several individuals, including defendant Diddy's employees, staff, friends, family, associates. In fact, defendant Diddy's sons are being sued for engaging in the same type of deviant. So this is, I guess replace that with like what Drake did. Remember, like Drake's defamation suit, he opens up with an intro and he was just like, kind of going into the story of, the security guard that was shot in the chest outside of his home. And he had to, hold pressure over his bullet wound to try to help him save his life and rush to the hospital. Opening up like who this person is, what he's been in trouble for, what he's been accused for recently. I get it. The intro. But being that this is 87 pages, let's try this. I want to look at Druski first, man, because he's the first. I mean, they all innocent till proven guilty, and I don't want to just put that stamp on anybody's jacket, of course, but I think Druski's name surprises people the most. And that's not trying to say that Odell Beckham or Diddy's mom doesn't deserve this either. I'm just saying, let's search out the document for Druski first. Then we'll do Odell. Then I'm gonna do Jaguar Right. And now I'm realizing we're gonna do Diddy's moms too. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. At least in the document, off rip, when I search out Druski's name, I find it 45 times. All right. Let's see. Defendant Druski is an individual who, upon information and belief, resides in and is domiciled in either Maryland or Georgia, previously referred to as John Doe. Plaintiffs. All right. So this shows it once again. He was named as a John Doe in the original complaint. Right now, they're filling his name in. I wonder if there was any Tony Busby stuff going on. We're like, all right, we're gonna put this civil suit in, and we're gonna put the name John Doe as a placeholder. We know that we want to keep that spot for John Doe as Druski later on, but let's reach out to him first. Let's contact him and see if he's gonna, if he got any money for us or anything like that, if he's gonna cooperate. No, okay, we're gonna put it. I wonder if that happened behind the scenes. That would mean that these people knew that it was on the way. When that happened to Jay-Z, he immediately put a countersuit in, right? For extortion. He's just like, nah, that's not happening. Y'all not suing me. So these guys, I wonder if they were contacted, and we still see 1 through 10 Jane Does and John Does listed as defendants that are unnamed so far. Spooky. Defendant Jaguar, right? They got a nice mugshot picture of her in there, huh? All right, let's stay on the Druski though. All right, what do we got here? Oh wow. Look at this. You see this word, y'all? You see that word I just highlighted? And that's just browsing to the 4th time that I find his Druski's name. So let me scroll up a little bit. Let's get some context to that. This is why I say this paperwork is. Look how far up the story goes. And y'all gonna have me read this whole story. This story looks crazy. Was being squirted with a chemical substance like acid. What the fuck am I scrolling up through? This whole thing is the story of the night or the day in question? Factual allegations common to all counts. To all counts. All right, I might as well not be lazy and read it then. Shit. Plaintiff met defendant Shane February 2018 after an altercation with another man at a bar, and defendant Shane came to plaintiff's rescue. While outside the bar with friends and other patrons, defendant Shane, okay, I don't care about that. Defendant Shane then showed plaintiff defendant Diddy on his video call, which plaintiff ignored, stating she was not impressed by him knowing defendant Diddy because she believed defendant Diddy had something to do with the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur. Tupac's name is being brought into this civil suit for context. Wow. Visible in the FaceTime call was defendant Diddy and some of his children, including his son Christian and Quincy. It appeared from the plaintiff's perspective, defendant Diddy was having a get together at his home during the time of the FaceTime call with defendant Shane. Defendant Diddy heard plaintiff's statement and made a remark the plaintiff would pay for her statement regarding Tupac and overall dismissal of defendant Diddy. The feds are going to read stuff like this. Like what payoffs in regards to allegedly Tupac's shit, fuck around and bring stuff like this into the Keefe D case that's going on right now. Oh man, let me skip down. What the hell is going on? I can't believe it's this much. Defendant Diddy entered the home in a grand, ready to party manner. His entrance was so loud that the dogs upstairs began barking. Are you trying to put details like that to prove that you really was there, huh? Defendant Diddy did not enter the home through the backyard entrance, but instead through the main entrance. Along with defendant Diddy were his bodyguard defending Big Homie CC. Once again, he's named as a defendant, and he's doing interviews lately. Now you got yourself in a civil suit as being around some of these activities or serving as Diddy's bodyguard, Big Homie CC. Wow. That should be a heads up to the security guard, allegedly Big Joe. Stay your ass off the radar. Don't run around doing interviews because Diddy's in jail. Stay off the radar, man. Defendant KK, defendant Brandy, defendant Doe 2. Wow. Who, upon information and belief, is a friend of defendant Shane and Diddy, and defendant Diddy's driver, Doe 3, who remained outside in his vehicle during the duration of plaintiff's assault. Plaintiff believes defendant Shane invited her over to set her up to be assaulted by defendant Diddy because the statement she made about defendant Diddy a month prior. Upon defendant Diddy's arrival, he immediately began to antagonize the plaintiff, stating she thought she would never see him in person, pay for her statements about Tupac during the voice call. So are you guys saying that this person was brought about to get this information or seal away these Tupac allegations, or was there ever any sexual assault I guess, what they was shooting for. Like, now this is being wrapped into like, "Oh, I brought these people through so I could what, figure out this Tupac stuff?" Like, what the hell? Plaintiff was in shock as she never believed that she would ever see or meet defendant Diddy in real life, let alone in a small apartment rented by the defendant Shane. Defendant Diddy then began advancing towards where plaintiff was sitting on defendant Shane's bed with a knife and held it to the right side of plaintiff's face and threatened to give her a whatever type smile in retaliation for her previous statements on the video call. Okay, you got this nigga looking on some horror movie type shit, huh? Defendant KK told defendant Diddy that she did not think giving plaintiff X whatever that word is smile would be advantageous to their potential clients who they could sell plaintiff for sex to. Now you're talking about the sex trafficking stuff. What? Defendant KK then made a threat to plaintiff that they could ship her off anywhere in the world and that she would never see her family or anyone she knew ever again. No, that's definitely sounds like that sex trafficking type of stuff. Defendant Shane then partially undressed plaintiff. Then defendant Diddy removed the remainder of plaintiff's clothing, removing the knife from her face, and then retrieved a bottle of liquid from a large fanny pack. People, what am I reading right now? Got you, J Ray. The Joker smile. Okay. What am I reading right now? I didn't read this yet, people. What am I reading right now? All I did was pull the paperwork, make sure that we can get it, and then I browsed if we can find the name Odell Beckham and Druski. I'm like, oh wow, those names are all throughout this. So okay, we could read it over together. But what am I reading right now? Like, defendant Diddy then squirted a bottle of liquid on a plaintiff, which placed her in fear that she was being squirted with a chemical substance like acid. Plaintiff soon realized the substance was oil or lubricant. Plaintiff was squirted with this liquid substance over the entirety of her naked body. At what point in this did she get naked? I didn't read a point in that where she got naked. Okay. Defendant KK was then told by defendant Diddy to insert what looked like a syringe from a sterile packaging into plaintiff's V. What in the world is going on? This is the type of shit where it's just like, if there's any, this is where it's like, yo, y'all, you like a monster. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing, I guess, to say, hey, we were arguing and he slapped me, and then I left the room, and he walked down the hall, and he grabbed me and he threw me to the floor. It's just like, use a piece of shit. But this type of shit reads like, nigga, you on some Dama shit. Like what the fuck is this? This is what's in the lawsuit. He ain't making up. If anybody's in here in the chat, thank you, Melly. I appreciate that call out. If anybody's in the chat and thinking that I'm just making this up, maybe you're just playing this in your ear. You got your Bluetooth on or something like this. People, if you see, I'm on live video right now. I have the paperwork in front of us, the actual court filings. This isn't me making something up. If you're just listening to the audio, if you happen to catch this on Spotify, people, the video of this on our YouTube channel, the Sorry Shoot podcast. We got the paperwork up right here for y'all to see exactly what I'm reading. So this is insane what I'm reading, though. All right. Defendant KK did as told. Wow. While assisted by defendant Brandy, and then told defendant Diddy that they were unable to use the IUD because it had prematurely been released from its packaging. Defendant Diddy, upset by this, took the syringe from the defendant KK and then tried inserting it into plaintiff's V instead. Defendant KK and Diddy began to argue as defendant KK continued to advise defendant Diddy that since the IUD had been prematurely released from its packaging, it was no way they could insert it in plaintiff's V effect. What the fuck am I reading? I gotta skip a little bit. What am I reading? I gotta skip down a little bit, y'all. I'm sorry. Defendant Diddy then picked up a television remote that was near plaintiff and then violently insert. Okay, skip that too. What the fuck is going on? Plaintiff began hysterically crying from the yeah, I mean, who wouldn't if this is really happening? I can't read some of this. I gotta skip 70. Defendants ain't grab. Now I gotta start reading this over before nah, I'm not reading 71. I'm not reading 72. I'm not reading 73. I'm not reading 74. What the? I'm not reading 75. Instructed another defendant. I'm not reading 76. I'll read a piece of 78 because that's where the first name that we saw at the search came in. I'll read 78. Defendant Druski then caught himself from sliding over plaintiff's oil body and off the bed. He then began R-ing plaintiff. While defendant Druski was R plaintiff, defendant Diddy sat in the chair near a bed and began while recording plaintiff's. If you're listening to the audio, people, just fill in the blanks. Another party's phone fell on the bed near plaintiff. Plaintiff then attempted to grab the phone, but it slipped or out of her hand onto the floor due to the oil lubricant and had doused all over her. And the defendant Diddy and Druski. Throughout this violent gang, I can't read all of this, not just for me and not just for y'all, but also maybe you. I gotta be careful. Let me just continue with the Druski stuff. Like, what the hell? Whatever attorney filed this, I hope it was vetted because this is wild. When defendant Druski finished, blah 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 blah. Defendant KK entered the room to examine the condition of plaintiff, who was barely able to move or control her bodily function. This is supposed to be happening in 2018. Yo, Druski, man. We read Druski's I gotta pause for a second. We read Druski's response saying that I wasn't even in the industry. I didn't have no connections, let alone at a Diddy party in 2018. I'm still living with my mother. Then what are you talking about? Yo, Druski, if that is 1000% the truth, homie, you gotta go Jay-Z mode. You gotta, whatever money you've pulled out of this industry so far, you gotta go Jay-Z mode. Druski, have you read some of this shit that somebody walked into a courtroom and filed on you? If this is just some pure fantasy makeup, some plaintiffs and some lawyers got together and just wrote out this movie, disgusting Jeffrey Dahmer script scene and put your name in it, and I didn't even know none of these people. I wasn't around, and I don't know. This is 1000% like, what are you talking about type level? You got to call Alex Spiro. You got to sue. Like, you can't allow what? Are y'all reading this paperwork? You can't have people just make shit up like this. You want to know what I could almost, I don't do, y'all know me. I don't do frivolous lawsuits. I don't do lying lawsuits. I don't fuck with them. I think they're for the cowards and the leeches of the world. Disgusting people of the world. But I could almost like, nah, I can't even word it like that. I could see still an asshole or a piece of shit person walking into a courtroom or walking up to an attorney and saying, I want to file this because at least like I was there and at least Diddy was there, confirmed. At least Druski was there. Like, we were at the same house party, and I don't know, the night didn't end the way I wanted it to, and they kicked me out for not putting out, and I was forced to find an Uber, and fuck that. Diddy's in jail right now. Let me try to sue them niggas and put them same names in that didn't stick up for me when I was getting kicked out the house. Now it's payback. Let it at least be that, which is still fuck shit and would be some piece of shit people to do that. But let it at least have some type of merit, like location and people and date have some type of merit. some type of merit. If this is just let's sit down and write a story, sue the shit out of these people, B. Because this shit reads insane. We've never brought paperwork up on here that I had to skip around and I was just like, yo, I can't read this. Ever. Ever. What? Druski, you got to take the page directly out of Jay-Z's book for this. Like, what? There's no reason for me to continue to. There's like 30 something more occurrences of Druski's name. I don't need to go through. Let me see Odell. Let's take a look at how Odell's name came up in this. Defendant Odell Beckham Jr. Defendant Odell is an individual who resides. Okay, we know. Let's go with defendant who Ard was defend. Okay, let's scroll up a little bit. So Odell's name comes in the 80s, right beneath where we stopped reading for Druski. Okay, so let me pick it back up just so we can see what's going on with Odell. Let's go to 80. Another party's phone fell. All right, reread that part. 81. Defendant Diddy began laughing. Plaintiff attempt to grab the phone. Throughout this violent gang situation, I got to replace some words here. Defendant Diddy made constant belittling remarks to plaintiff, including that he owned her now. At some point during the ordeal, plaintiff remembers defendant referring to another defendant, Doe, as Cornelius, and remembered the name because it was so odd and unique. Plaintiff has come to discover the defendant, Doe Cornelius, who Ard her, was defendant Odell. So that's this initial tie-in for Odell being allegedly involved in this situation, this gang situation, is because a name was said that she then later was able to correlate because the name was so distinct. What is the name? Am I missing something? What does the name Cornelius have to do with Odell Beckham Jr.? Hold on. Plaintiff come to discover the defendant Doe Cornelius, who Ard her, was defendant Odell. What does Odell's name have to do with Cornelius? What am I missing, chat? Is that like his middle name or something I don't know about? Cornelius Odell Beckham? Like, what's gonna come up on Google if I put that? What is this name Cornelius tie to Odell Beckham? Why is she saying that? I'm looking at a separate article, y'all. Odell Beckham Jr. accused of SA battery assault. Odell Beckham Jr. was named in a California lawsuit. Okay. Let me find in this separate article the name Cornelius. The complaint describes Beckham as part of a group who inflicted criminal acts on the plaintiff. The complaint says Parham did not know who Beckham was at the time, but found out later. He is described as smoking weed and cigarettes, being called Cornelius by the other group members, having a business conversation with Diddy, during which two men discussed with the plaintiff going to Beckham to New York. Okay. So as for the side article that I pulled up, I didn't bring it up on screen. That's the correlation. The correlation is that the plaintiff overheard Diddy and other people within this alleged group that performed this act, heard them referring to Odell as Cornelius. That seems lawyers are gonna have a field day with that. Like, you just put me in the room because you're saying you overheard somebody saying the name Scott or George, right? And you come later to understand that George is really me, Adam. Like, what? Huh? I don't know. Let's continue. Maybe there's more context. Let me keep reading. Plaintiff's body was becoming more and more. I don't want to read some of this neither. What? Yeah, I can't read some of this out loud. People, hold on. Powder like what? Yo, this paperwork is crazy. Let me see what's here on number 88. Defendants Diddy, Shane, KK, or Odell and Druski then exited the residence to the backyard where they smoked weed and cigarettes. One, two, three, four. So five people involved in this situation allegedly, and then they went to the backyard to smoke it off. And this was like some apartment. Plaintiff remained in an almost lifeless state, defendant Shane bedroom until she finally regained her bodily functions. All right. So plaintiff then found a knife with the assistance of Doe plaintiffs. So there's more plaintiffs supposedly that she's saying was with her on her side and headed to the backyard where defendants were smoking. That was the only way to exit the premises onto the streets. Plaintiff concealed the knife on her left side as she exited the apartment to the backyard area. Upon coming to the exit of the home, which led to the backyard, plaintiff was met by defendant Big Homie CC. That's where Big Homie CC's name comes in. Okay, who was standing at the door between the residence and the backyard. By the time plaintiff was able to compose herself and come to the backyard, defendant KK was no longer in the backyard, but upstairs on the patio balcony with defendant Brandy. Defendant Doe allowed plaintiff to walk to the backyard where defendants were still smoking. Defendant Doe did not see the knife that plaintiff concealed on her left side as it was obstructed by the oversized t-shirt plaintiff was wearing. Plaintiff observed defendant Diddy still partially nude from the assault while the other defendants had on their clothing. Defendant Shane then left the upstairs portion of the patio slash balcony where the defendant KK and Brandy was already situated. I'm trying to find out if she actually was able to leave. Plaintiff then sat down on a makeshift seat in the backyard when defendant Diddy noticed her presence and remarked that he was surprised she was able to walk because he had given her enough stuff to take out a horse. Plaintiff then asked defendant Diddy what he gave her, and plaintiff then asked defendant Diddy what he gave her, and he isn't Diddy, laughed and did not provide a response. Defendant Diddy then made further comments to plaintiff in a jovial, friendly manner, asking her why they hadn't partied together before because it was so much more. Now y'all trying to bring in the whole like the video with Diddy, Jadakiss, and Fab. Like, why you on birthday party with me? Like, we did party. What you mean? He's like, no, but we ain't party. That's what it makes this piece number 101 sound like. I ain't gonna lie. Defendant Big Homie CC then quipped and defended Diddy that he probably hadn't had any. I ain't reading that. Plaintiff told defendant Diddy she was not party with him and she did not enjoy partying with him. Well, I ain't reading that. The rest of did she leave? Defendant Diddy told plaintiff no one would ever believe she had been. Automatically, I see now where, this is an obvious suit against Diddy. We see clearly where Odell's name comes in, where Druski's name comes in, and where Big Homie CC, the security guard, all of these parties allegedly come in. Let's find Jaguar. What does she have to do with this? This is a disturbing read. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Where does Jaguar come in? Defendant Jacqueline Wright, defendant Jaguar is an individual. Yes, we know. The next morning, plaintiffs were restrained and bound by their hands in front of and were placed into a vehicle. Plaintiffs then saw defendants Jaguar and Helena. What are you trying to say? That they were the drivers to take people? Let me scroll up a little bit because now we in the 190s. Let me see how Jaguar comes into. Oh, they got something redacted here. A location, address. Okay. Let's see why Jaguar Wright comes in now. Plaintiffs were able to keep track of their location by remembering cross streets when they were finally let out of the vehicle for stops. At this location, plaintiffs observed a RV recreational vehicle arrive at the residence. During this stop is when plaintiff noticed defendant KK was part of the convoy. At this stop, plaintiffs overheard defendant KK being referred to as her code name, believed to be her middle name, Natasha, discussing visiting the UC Berkeley campus as defendant seemed very familiar with the area and familiar with the city. Upon information and belief, this location was approximately 7 miles from the home in Ordina where plaintiffs were assaulted. Okay, so this is now in a car afterwards. Plaintiffs were taken to another location at the Beacon Grand Hotel. Sir Franchise Sir Francis Drake. Don't use the word Drake there, people. He's not the only one that's called Drake. Defendant Shane worked at a hotel as a manager. Plaintiffs were taken into the hotel through what appeared to be the side entrance by defendants. This sounds like some trafficking ring type of, like, these people, you came to this apartment and then this happened to you, and then you went in the backyard, you sat down with Diddy and some of the other people while they smoking weed and y'all joking about it. Yo, I gave you enough to knock out a horse, and then y'all end up in a car after that. Now y'all take it to a hotel. What the fuck is this the type of reasons why he got sex trafficking in his Fed case? When the trial starts, we'll find out more. But okay. Oh, defendant Pelletier told the co-conspirator defendants he would stay at a different hotel nearby so it wouldn't be linked to him. There's a lot of detail in this stuff. I ain't gonna lie, as far as location and eh, mm, okay. Anyway, once inside the hotel room, plaintiffs were beaten and drugged by defendants Valdez and Gonzalez. Plaintiff pleaded with Valdez and Gonzalez to be released and for mercy. Defendants Valdez and Gonzalez instructed plaintiffs to sign paperwork at gunpoint. When plaintiffs refused, defendant Gonzalez would then pistol whip plaintiffs on the back of their heads. Why did people be thinking that you could sign an NDA and that's going to stop you from being arrested if I go walk into a precinct and say, listen, I just broke away from being kidnapped, drugged, and AR'd for the last 48 hours, but I signed an NDA? What do you mean? Like, what's wrong with these people? Plaintiffs spent the night at a hotel with defendants Gonzalez and Valdez taking turns watching them. Okay, so it looks like they were on, because I know a lot of people's hearing this story and this read and just be like, at what point do you run? At what point do you leave? At what point, even a Cassie, even if you walk to the elevator, something. And they're saying that they're staying up, the Valdez and the Gonzalez person staying up, taking turns watching them. Once again, this paints a picture of the trafficking type of stuff. There was threats earlier. We'll send you to another place in the world. You'll never be seen again. It makes me feel like the movie Taken type shit, right? Like, doesn't this paint like a picture of the movie Taken? No? All right, let's continue to figure out where Jaguar's name's at. The next morning, plaintiffs were restrained and bound by their hands and front and were placed in a vehicle. Plaintiffs then saw defendants Jaguar and Helena. There you go. Upon information and belief, defendants Jaguar and Helena were in a small sedan, light color with white or beige. Plaintiffs were transported to a location of plaintiffs' brutal assault on Loma Vista Drive by defendants Jaguar and Helena. So you're saying now Jaguar Wright and this person Helena also put hands on the same plaintiff? Brutal assault on Loma Vista Drive by defendants Jaguar and Helena. Defendant Helena was the driver and defendant Jaguar was the passenger. Defendant Helena warned plaintiffs that they tried to escape or run, that she would have to shoot you. So I was about to ask, like, do they have guns at least? Like, now you got two girls that's driving you around under siege or being kidnapped. Okay. Defendant Helena, who warned plaintiffs not to throw up in her vehicle, saying, "You better not throw up in my car, get sick." Defendant Helena mentioned having two partners as backup who were bounty hunters. Plaintiffs were familiar with defendant Helena as she had filed a lawsuit against superstar singer Michael Jackson in 2005 and filed a creditor's claim against the Jackson's estate upon his untimely demise in 2009. So stuff like that is just kind of painting pictures of, because they got to ask the plaintiff, like, how did you know this person Helena? How do you know this person Jaguar Wright? Right there, you see that they paint a picture of like, well, this is how I know it was this person Helena, because it's the same person that did this in the past. And I guess that's what they tried to do with Odell Beckham early. I think Odell Beckham's, the way he's put into this write-ups is the most shallow, is the best word to say. Plaintiffs were familiar with defendant Helena in her previous Michael Jackson lawsuit and had previously met the defendant in her home in West Hollywood to determine the credibility of her claims and if they were similar in nature to plaintiffs. Plaintiff had reported to defendant Helena multiple times in LA and OC FBI field offices for her role in the crime syndicate with defendants Pelletier, Valdez, and other individuals. Where else? All right, I was gonna see where else does Jaguar's name up. Defendant Jaguar aggravated stated, "You let them know who you are. That's really great." Plaintiffs noticed the defendant had a large brown bag. Okay, where else is she coming up? Jaguar. Black owned network. Defendant Jaguar discussed with defendant Helena how the party started the first black owned network upon information and belief. Plaintiff believes that network to be Revolt TV. Hmm. When defendant Jaguar said Cornelius is, it upset defendant Helena, who said that defendant Odell and Druski were her clients and nothing better happened to them, and plaintiffs better not say anything about them or she would have plaintiffs killed. So she's claiming, or supposedly Jaguar Wright said to the plaintiffs that she managed Odell or Druski were her clients and keep your mouth shut about them. Yo, I don't know, people. This is a wild read. The paperwork is out there, people. This is a wild read. Chat, what y'all think? Chat, what y'all think, man? Somebody said lock up Jaguar. Bro, Jag Ben said she know all of what she know because she was involved. She fuck around and have some of her own online statements used against her in this particular suit, huh? I was there. I was there. I have some. Remember when she did that little shit? I have my own tapes. Well, then maybe they subpoena her and be like, oh, well, we want the tapes now. Oh man, this case sounds like a Lifetime movie. I agree. Don't do that, crazy Bronx, man. Come on, man. Don't do that. I see what you wrote. I ain't pulling that up on the screen. What's this? Jaguar explaining what happened between Odell and Justine is a crazy thought now. It makes me want to go pull up some of that stuff. Yeah. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I'm gonna stand by this once again, people. Druski, if these dates are just flying by and there's like a totally made up story, like you wasn't even at a party for somebody to even lie on you, dude. We got to make examples of people like this. If that's the case, like you got to go Jay-Z mode. You can't just have people making up stories this wild. Odell Beckham Jr. probably has to do the same because they put him as a defendant in that same situation. Shit, even Jaguar Wright better go lawyer up and like that story reads wild. Oh wait, my bad, y'all. Nah, you want to know what? I'll read it. I'll read it separately, and we'll come back in a different stream because I do want to scan the paperwork to see where Diddy's mother comes in. I'll save it for a different stream, but at least for that, I'll pre-read. All right. Because I just got caught off crazy guard reading a lot of that. That's what happens when I do it live with y'all. I hope y'all rock. You know what I'm saying? So you get live reaction, live opinion, no fabricated shit for me. If sometimes I'll skim things, I'll do a little bit of upfront homework and make sure I know I kind of got an understanding of what's coming. But the 87 pages, I obviously ain't gonna read it. And then all right, let's cut. So when I do this live with y'all, I hope y'all appreciate it, man. Because if y'all caught off guard, so the fuck am I. I'm the one here reading it live for y'all. So I'll do the Diddy's mom's one up front, and then we'll get back to it later, but that's a wild day in celebrity news, man. Yeah, that read is wild.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss, making decisions my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry True Podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members.